Ministry opposes the sanctions against Russia, saying those measures cannot resolve the Ukrainian crisis. The Chinese embassy in Moscow has echoed remarks made by the Russian envoy to the UN in condemnation of the US.
Among the 248 armed conflicts that occurred in 153 regions across the world from 1945 to 2001, 201 were initiated by the US, accounting for 81% of the total number.
The Chinese embassy in Russia has posted a list of the armed conflicts the US has been involved in since World War II. You can see the names of cities and years where the armed conflicts took place, more than 80% of which, the Chinese embassy said, were initiated by the US. A Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson suggested that the US should ask itself who's been the aggressor in those conflicts. Meanwhile, Victor Gao, an international relations expert at China's Soochow University, warned that sanctions against Russia will be mutually destructive for the West.
China-Ukraine has been very much used by the United States and Western countries in attempting to recruit Ukraine into NATO, which is very, very aggressive as far as Russia is concerned, very destabilizing of peace and stability in that part of the world. Such sanctions will be very mutually destructive, mainly because Russia is a very, very important country in the world, politically, militarily, in terms of energy, economic relations of all kinds. And Russia is such an important and indispensable energy supplier to so many countries in Europe. So by taking out Russia from the SWIFT settlement system, for example, as well as making it almost impossible to Russia to deal with other countries in Europe in terms of trade, export, energy, businesses, etc., is very hurtful to Russian interest, of course, on the one hand, but it's very hurtful of the European interest. Who benefits from all this? I think the United States has an agenda to benefit hugely because they want to sell LNG to Europe countries, and they do not want to have European countries buy more and more of oil and natural gas from Russia, which is cheaper and which is more sustainable.